Comic stream. Oh, we're on the wrong. Oh, we're off to a great start.
What's
But
going on?
haha,
Oh,
hello.
hi.
Okay. Wow. It's we. It's been a few weeks since we were able to do a stream, and I already
Yeah,
forgot everything that we were supposed to be doing for it.
it's
But you
been a
know what?
while.
We're back. We're happy to be back. We are super excited to talk about some comic books.
Yeah.
It's a weird week tomorrow. There's like a few notable books that I'm pretty excited about, but not as big as some of the previous weeks. So I did pick a few books that we weren't able to talk about last week to kind of chat about.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're not new books; they're just facsimiles that came out. Because
Ones you're excited about?
yes, exactly. Because
Yeah.
as you know, Celeste, I am an old guy and I like to read my facsimile books.
Yep.
And I think last week there was three that came out. So as we've talked about, DC is reprinting the Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Mm-hmm.
That is difficult to say. Crisis on Infinite
Crisis on
Earths.
Infinite
I
Earths.
keep wanting to like slip. Did you say that again?
Earths. Earths.
Earths. Yeah.
I have a
Okay.
slight lisp, okay?
No, you said it. You said it better than me. I always want to say Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Earths.
Earths. But I just briefly touching on this. I liked seeing. I've never read this before, and that's what's so weird. I guess like as like a DC or somebody who is primarily a Marvel reader, I'm kind of appreciating this Crisis series for the first time, and I feel really it feels really weird being a guy who's like 40 something years old who really likes comics and has never read Crisis on Infinite Earths because this was like a huge book uh, for
Yeah.
for so long, and so it's kind of
Surprise.
strange.
Aaron the comic guy.
I
Never read
know, I
Crisis.
know. So you
Wow.
know what? You can't. You gotta. There's always going to be some holes. You can't know everything. But I'm really enjoying this, and I feel kind of stupid because it's so. I don't necessarily want to say it's essential reading for DC, but it's so weird reading this book now and all the other books that I've read since that were like referencing this.
Hmm.
Like if you're a fool if you read any Grant Morrison DC book without having first read Crisis on Infinite Earths. And I'm a huge fan of Grant Morrison, so I've read a lot of Morrison's books. Like Seven
Wow.
Soldiers is my favorite thing in the world,
So you're
and
finally
and,
getting
and
around to
now
it.
I'm reading Crisis, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's why he did that. Oh, that's what that means.
All the little
So
boxes with the asterisks where it's refer back to this. You
exactly.
said
It's
no.
literally all just referring to
Yeah.
this. But yeah,
Okay.
it's really good, and I'm really enjoying it. Converse or contrast, I should say, to the Marvel Secret Wars, which is also coming out. Marvel's putting that series out, and I'm reading that one as more like a Marvel completionist reader. But I'm actually
Okay.
not liking it that much. It's not that good.
It's like a
But
chore to get
yeah,
through.
it is a little bit. But
Yeah.
like Crisis, I'm actually pretty invested in. So like, what a weird it's a weird experience for me, like who was like a Marvel reader who's now like, oh, these DC Comics guys, they kind of know what they're doing.
Nice.
Another facsimile. I'm just gonna blast through a couple of these facsimiles real quick, and then we'll get to some of the new cool stuff that the young kids
Yeah.
like that Celeste picked out.
Yeah.
Another facsimile that came out the other week, Military Comics #1. This is the
What?
first appearance of the character Blackhawk. Now, I like this is a golden age comic. This is a comic that first came out in I want to say 39 or maybe 40. I would
Oh,
have
that
to
explains it. I don't know who Blackhawk
Black.
is.
So this is Blackhawk is so there used to be a thing before superheroes became kind of the predominant genre of comic books.
Yeah.
One of the most popular ones was military stories because, of
Oh,
course,
okay.
comic books became a thing during World War II, and so there was a ton of just like army comics and just stories of army adventure and war, lots of war comics. And that's what this is. So this is literally just it's military comics. It's the first appearance of this character Blackhawk, who's an American hero who guns down Nazis, and
Badass.
it has a certain charm. I think that very few Golden Age comics hold up the same way that you can pick out some Silver Age comics that do. Like, but they're definitely a part of their time. They're definitely like something that's I believe has to be read in context.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the medium, the style was being invented as they were creating it. So
Hmm.
there's a lot of things. I don't know if I can find like a good example. there's
See,
a
that's
bunch of
something I
different
really
stories in here.
appreciate the old art style. It's not my favorite for comics, but I
Here's
do really
actually
like just looking back at them.
this page is kind of a good example of what I like reading about Golden Age comics. Is this is there's more egregious examples, but a lot of modern comics are very structured in how they're presented, like with the panels. But like you can see, this is like there's almost like this like stairway effect going on because they were just kind of like just trying to cram all the story onto the page as best they could, but there's not as much of a sense of a flow. I mean, like look at this panel; it looks like a Tetris piece, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like little wonky things like that in Golden Age comics. I also love when you see just like weird imaginative vehicles and stuff because again in 1939 it's not as easy to find good references to things. So like we take it such for granted now that we have the internet and we can just like look up everything. But like here you have like this beautifully drawn battleship. This is let's see who did Yankee Eagle. I forget. It's a really good artist. Oh, John Stewart drew that. There's a lot of great Golden Age artists that are represented in this book, but like this is clearly like a photo referenced. Like he had it like
Yeah.
found some photo of a destroyer or a battleship and was able to. If it's not, yeah, I think he had to have drawn it in because this was before like photocopying was even a thing.
That
But
looks so
then
clean.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like you can tell there's a stark difference between that, which is heavily photo referenced, and then
Yes.
this like weird tank submarine spaceship combo rocket
That's
that
what the future looks like.
right, exactly. But yeah, I like reading Golden Age comics just because it's just so unlike anything that you read
Mhm.
today. You know, it's neat for that reason.
Nice. What else you
Another
got?
facsimile.
New
I got two
Mutants.
more. This one also
Ah.
came out last week. Yeah, Marvel has been putting out this comic consistently. New Mutants number 98. This, of course, is the first appearance of the character Deadpool.
Wait, what?
Yes, this is the very first Deadpool story by creator Rob Liefeld.
Ooh, I
And
want to get that one.
you know what? I kind of recommend it because it's not a great comic. And Deadpool, we don't have time. We don't have time for me to go on everything about Rob Liefeld, but there, it's it's neat. I liked his art a lot as a kid. Uh, this issue itself is not as good as other New Mutants issues that he did, but it does have the first Deadpool story. Deadpool shows up. There he is. Boom. He's trying to
Yo.
kill Cable, and it's fascinating, kind of to me, also just to see the very first iteration of Deadpool and how the characters kind of changed over time.
Yeah, see, that's what I like seeing is all the different suits and
Hmm.
everything. Even the
Yeah,
way they talk, or I don't know, their
yeah,
superpowers when they come up with new ways
yeah,
to like use them and stuff.
and
Yeah.
a lot of times, like when the character first appears, they're not wholly defined, or you know, they're still like figuring out what the character is. So there's always like it's like slightly off from like the regular version that you're used to reading about, you
Yeah.
know, in present day. But yeah, so
Okay.
this is definitely a book that I like. Despite its, I'm not giving it a glowing review for the content of the comic, but it's a highly sought after issue just because you know it's classic Rob Liefeld art, and it is the first appearance of Deadpool, who's gone on to be quite a popular
He's a
character.
big star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Apparently, there's like a movie coming out soon.
Yeah. Excited for that.
One more facsimile. This one comes out this week, tomorrow.
Okay.
Avengers Annual number 10. Now, you might be thinking, Celeste, why are they making a facsimile of Avengers Annual number 10? And the answer is because it is the first appearance of this famous character right here. Uh, there's a good full shot of her. Do you recognize that character? That
Not at
is
all.
not at all. That
No.
is Rogue from the X-Men.
Oh.
When she first appeared, she looked drastically different than she does in
Yeah, just a
the
bit.
cartoon. Well, she's a villain. So this is the story of how she puts Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, in a coma
Oh.
and steals her powers.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Oh, Celeste.
Wow.
Oh yeah. You got to get in on that X-Men '97 continuity.
Yeah, I know nothing about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know. It's yeah. Jesse says what? Yeah, it's she looked drastically different. Like she had short hair. The even the hair, like Rogue is known for having the one white stripe in the center of her hair. In this, it's like she has two stripes on the sides. And the only thing I can think of is like when the character was first introduced. Trying to see if like yeah, look at that. Like she's a villain, so they kind of go out of their way to make her look villainous. Where she's just kind of ugly looking, you know. I mean, green is not a heroic color, but yeah, they just like she looks almost ghoulish, which
Yeah.
you know it fits the profile of a villain who is sort of like a superpowered vampire. Like if they can just steal your life by touching you, that it makes sense that they would draw her to look kind of, you know, uh, not nice looking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she
Like
for sure looks like a villain. So they
yeah,
did good on that part.
yep, yeah, and
Look at that.
there she is.
Yeah, that's a villain if I've ever
Power.
seen one.
That's a power move. She's got the cackle. Yeah, but yeah.
Wow.
So it's this is you want to talk about watching. It's like seeing ways that a character has changed. Read the first appearance of Rogue, and then watch your X-Men cartoon and see how
Wow.
far she's come. But that's well, the other reason I love the classic X-Men comics. The Avengers Annual is written by Chris Claremont, who he's the guy who wrote pretty much the modern version of the X-Men that we all know and love today. And that's what made that comic so cool, is that you would have a character like Rogue who started out as this like pretty bad villain, and she gets rehabilitated in her own way, and
I
there's just
love
like
redemption arcs.
it's yeah, I agree. It's
Yeah.
not just that it's a redemption arc. It's just that you could see characters grow and change like drastically in that book, and not always redemption. Redemption is a good one, and it's an easy one to do because it's always really compelling. But like, just I love reading that series because you can just see, like I said, characters just kind of go in all directions, and
Yeah.
it really was. It just felt like anything could happen to any character at any time. Whereas I feel like you don't get that feeling today in a lot of like superhero books,
Yeah.
or
Sometimes it's the same thing over and over.
yeah, it's repetitive, or
Yeah.
you know something's drastic is going to happen, but then it's just going to get changed back. Whereas like back in the olden days,
Back in my
uh,
day.
but even though a lot of it did eventually get changed back, this was before you realized that would happen, and so there was a sense that everything that happened was permanent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
it wasn't until Jean Grey came back and then died again and then came back again that we all started to realize, like, hey, wait a minute.
Oh no, she's dead again.
Yeah,
Just give it a minute.
first time.
Yeah. She'll be back.
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm really excited about this Avengers annual facsimile because again, I like filling holes in my collection with key issues and not having to buy an overpriced
Is this
back
just
issue.
issue 10?
It's this is an annual, which
Oh, okay.
that's the like a
That
yearly
makes sense.
single issue.
Yeah.
So this isn't issue 10 of the Avengers. This is the 10th annual. So this originally came out in 1981. I guess one other thing I'll say quickly is I know I've kind of dogged on Marvel and their facsimile reprints in the past because they're on this like glossy coated paper as opposed to it's difficult to see on camera, but like I really like DC's facsimiles because it's like actual newsprint, and so it just I think it looks better. Like it just looks more like how the original comic would have looked. Whereas the Marvel books, they have a lot of it looks just more garish. Like the colors are more like a little brighter than they would have been in the original issue. But all that being said, I actually think that this Avengers 10 looks pretty good. I still wish it wasn't on the glossy coated paper, but the colors look pretty okay. So maybe I don't know if they're doing something different to make it look better, or maybe I'm just getting used to it.
I didn't even notice the paper until you pointed it out.
Yeah, it's a huge thing for a lot of people. Like it's just kind of a sore spot, just because like, I mean, for me, it's a facsimile, meaning it's supposed to look as close to the original as possible in my mind, and so it bothers me that there's a huge difference with the glossy paper. Like even if Marvel thinks it looks better, which I don't think it does, but even if they did think it looked better, I still would be against it just because it's not as close to the original as it could be.
Watch
But
one
that's just,
one day they're gonna change up the ads on you and do like newer ads.
you know, I'm afraid of that
Yeah.
too, but I don't think they will. All right, let's talk about some new stuff. What do you got picked out here?
Ooh. All right. So Pride Month is coming up.
That's right.
So we got DC
DC
Pride 2024.
Yeah, they've been doing these. They do every June for several years now. This is kind of just like their new go-to.
Yeah, so it's a bunch of short stories of all these
Mhm.
different characters in the LGBT community. My favorite one.
What's your favorite one?
So I really liked
Flip to it.
Spirit World, and so this one caught my eye only because it has John Constantine and Xanth in it. I think
Okay.
I'm saying that right, Xanth.
Mhm.
This one actually focuses more on Tracy and Nat, I think her name is. I don't know that character. But yeah, you got a ton of different characters. We got Poison Ivy in here. I'm going backwards. I'll let you flip through.
Oh, you can just talk about like what was your favorite story? You said it was the Constantine Xanth one.
Yeah, just because of Xanth. I really like that character. But no, the Poison Ivy one was really good too. I didn't read all of them. Did not have time because I just picked it up today. But that one's
it's a hefty
Aquaman.
Book. Like this is,
yeah.
It's got to be. I didn't do a page count, but
yeah,
it's at least 80 pages, if not more.
Oh, I should have grabbed the other covers. There's 2 variant covers, and then we also got this issue in a hardcover version
Orion,
that you can pick up
that's
if you
my
want.
guy. I like Orion.
Yeah.
This story, if I'm not mistaken, this Aqualad story. So that's by I don't know how to pronounce her name. I think it's Nozi Ukazu, and she has. I read the Free Comic Book Day story about. She has a Barda graphic novel coming out about Big Barda. That's that character that I really liked. That was in Birds of Prey.
Was that
That's
a Free Comic Book Day issue?
Comic Book
okay,
Day issue
yeah.
that we have it on display up front. We still have some copies if you're curious about it. This is the same creator of that. And so Barda is a character from Jack Kirby's Fourth World, who Orion was kind of the main character of that. So that's cool. Seeing her like getting to play with all of the Jack Kirby Fourth World characters.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea who that is.
He's kind of an obscure DC character. Like he's not a traditional hero, but he's the. I mean, spoiler alert: he's the son of Darkseid.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I should pick up that Barda comic.
You should.
Yeah.
I read it. I liked it. I like Barda. It's definitely a like the Barda book. It's definitely like a what would you call it? A young adult readers.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's like for teenage girls, kind of like that's their
My favorite.
It's
I like
their target
those books.
demographic.
Yeah.
But I like Big Barda, so I read it too, and I enjoyed it.
Nice.
It's there. I don't know.
It's
this isn't a review about Barda. We'll talk about it when it comes out because it also has Mr. Miracle in it, and it's kind of like the story of Barda and Mr. Miracle, but from her perspective, from Barda's perspective. Whereas a lot of times in like the original comics, it was Mr. Miracle's comic, so he was the main character, and Barda was one of the supporting characters. In the new book, Barda's the main character.
Yeah, I like when they do that and they pluck
Yeah.
a little side character out and make
Yeah.
them shine.
Yeah, so that was cool seeing
Yeah.
that.
But super excited for this. I can't wait to read all the different stories because I've only read 2 of them.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I just flipped to the ones that
There's a lot of
I
good
thought
art
I would
in
like. Yeah, see, that's what I like is that they're all by different artists, different
it.
creators, authors. So it's just a modge podge of a bunch of stuff. I have no idea who this character is, but she looks so interesting.
Which character? The one I was just at?
Yeah. What's the first? Will it say her name on here? Yeah, I don't know. She's going through like a training montage.
Oh, okay.
Makes me wish I would have read the whole thing before the stream, but yeah.
Well, you'll get to it.
That one's like a Superman story. He's in there.
Yeah.
They have a sneak peek at the very end of I think it's Harley when she's a kid. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Strange Case of Harleen and Harley. So they're breaking in and freeing some animals.
Okay.
Super cute.
Well, all right. Okay. Another book that I'm super excited about, going in the complete opposite direction of DC Pride, Duke. This is a trade paperback. I've talked about this book every week, month, whatever, that it came out. I love this comic. I'm just way into the new G.I. Joe comics that Skybound is doing. I love Tom Riley. This is such a great in like setup for where they're going with this new Transformers GI Joe universe. So if you have been reading Transformers and you're enjoying it, definitely recommend you check out Duke. There's nothing I can say right now that I haven't said at least 5 times previously, but the trade paperback first collection coming out tomorrow. Definitely check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. Another book that I'm really enjoying is Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives.
So I knew you'd pick up that one.
I have to. My wife loves it. There's 2 great covers. There's actually multiple covers, but these are the 2 main covers, the A and the B cover. And I made a mistake of asking my wife which cover she liked most, and she couldn't decide, so I had to buy both, which means now I have to buy both cover for every issue so that the collection is complete and synchronized.
Yeah.
But I really like this issue. The setup for it is really good. I think I probably talked about when issue 1 came out, but there is a sequel to Creature from the Black Lagoon called like Return of the Creature, and it's not very good. And so I like that this is like a new sequel to the original movie.
We just ignore that other movie ever happened.
Exactly.
It's not. It never existed.
Yeah, but I like it. It's written by Ram V. Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is written by Ram V. Art is by Dan Waters. No, art is by Matthew Roberts. I'm getting all mixed up here. Dan Waters and Ram V are the writers. Matthew Roberts is the artist. Looks really good. I love the setup, or as like this journalist goes down to South America because there's a serial killer that's hiding out down there, and everybody, the locals are like, "Oh, it's the creature that's killing people," and she's like, "No, it's the serial killer. I just know it." And then it turns out that it may be a little bit of both.
The serial killer is the creature?
No, there's definitely. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but yeah, like we get some action. It's a good book. It's a brisk read. I like it. It plays very much like it reads, like very cinematic. I think is what I'm trying to say.
Not a lot of the little boxes that explain stuff.
No, not a lot of not a lot of this.
Just all of that.
Just all that text everywhere.
Yeah.
Not a lot of that, but I like it quite a bit, and I know my wife likes it too. So that's 2 people with great taste recommending this book. Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives. It does have it has a completely different tone from Dracula. They're different creators, and I also feel like the goals were kind of different. Whereas Dracula was just a retelling of the Dracula story. Like that's the Universal Monsters comics. This is like new. It's kind of a new series from Image. They're just doing these mini series about each Universal monster. Like Dracula was the first one, and Creature from the Black Lagoon is the next one. I'm not sure what they're going to do next, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see like the Mummy or Wolfman or Frankenstein, something like that.
Yeah.
But
just put a whole series out there.
But yeah, the Dracula one was definitely like a just a retelling of the Dracula story, which was it was good. I really liked it, but I really like that Creature from the Black Lagoon Lives is kind of a new thing. Like it's not retreading it; it's just telling a new story about the creature, and that's really good.
Keeping it fresh.
Yeah. All right, what's another book that you got?
Ooh, we got Edge of Spider-Verse. Another issue came out. So this one, it's got 3 short stories in it. So the cover, it's got Spider-Woman. She's our main girl in this issue. And it just has a nice little short story where she's fighting.
Oh yeah, this is the Spider-Verse version of Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love her motorcycle and how she swings around with it. It's
that's
pretty cool.
That is nice looking. Like I really like that.
Yeah, the pop of color.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the art style on that. Who's the artist on that one? Actually, we can find it.
Eric Gapster and Raul Angulo and Marcus Williams.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, Marcus Williams is the colorist, but yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, it looks great. The colors are definitely pop on this as well.
I think this was my favorite story in this issue. But yeah, it's just a nice, cute, emotional story of Spider-Woman, and while she's fighting, I think this is her world's version of like Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's wearing purple and he has a bow and arrow.
Yeah,
That's
but he's
probably-
like he's evil.
He's a bad guy.
He's
Well,
a bad guy. He's a
well,
villain.
I don't want to totally blow your mind, Celeste, but when Hawkeye first showed up, he was a villain too. There's a lot of characters.
There's so
go
much
through
that I
that
don't
redemption
know.
arc.
I'm like
Yeah,
trying to catch up
Hawkeye
on.
started out as a villain too. Yeah, I know.
That's crazy to me. Like there's so much content for just Marvel or just DC, and
Mhm.
it's just a huge backlog of
Oh
stuff
my
I need
God,
to
I
catch
know.
up on. I told myself when I first started working here, I was like, I want to read every Spider-Man issue.
Oh my goodness.
And then I saw our shelf and I
Good
was
luck
like,
with
no.
that. Yeah, even if you were just reading the Epic collections, like
Yeah.
there's so much.
Just gotta pick and
There's
choose.
literally 60 years worth of.
I'm never gonna catch up.
Yeah,
but
never. And that's just Amazing Spider-Man.
There's also
so
like
many
5
other-
issues coming out like right now,
Yeah.
but they're still just oh lordy, never gonna catch up. But I'm liking Edge of Spider-Verse.
Okay, well that's good. That's good.
Yeah, because they're just a bunch of short little stories. You don't really have to know a ton of
Mhm.
the background to jump into it.
And they tell stories about like different Spider-Verse versions of Spider-Man,
yeah,
right?
so you got
this is
Spider
the
Rex. This is
T-Rex
another short story in this, but it focuses on this little lizard guy.
one. Okay.
I almost started crying. So Spider Rex like stepped on his tail, and he's like, "Oh no, gotta look out for the little guy!" Like, and he becomes a villain because he hates that Spider Rex just sort of stepped on him.
He's the lizard.
Yeah. So then, he just sort of is like, "You destroyed my life," and Spider Rex is like, "You know, your tail's gonna grow back anyway, but whatever. We ignore that." But yeah, that was a fun little short story. And then the last one. Yeah, I didn't get around to reading this one, but yeah, we got 3 stories in this. I don't even know who this guy is.
That looks
Too
like...
many Spider-Men.
There's too many. Yes,
There's too
I
many
agree.
to keep up with. Oh, another one.
Another,
Would you
yeah,
look at that.
they just keep popping out of the walls.
Yeah, I like it. He looks kind of like a Doc Ock.
He
Spider-Man.
does. This I don't know. I haven't read the Spider-Verse books. There was an old What If issue called I think it was like What If Peter Parker had to kill Spider-Man.
Oh, what?
And it is so the issue was like I think the story was if Flash Thompson got bit by the radioactive spider and he
Okay.
becomes Spider-Man, but Flash Thompson was kind of like an antagonist character in the old story, so he was like a the jerky jock archetype, and so he becomes Spider-Man and like becomes kind of a villain, and so
yeah,
Peter
I can
Parker's
see
like
that.
I gotta stop him, so he teams up with Doc Ock and makes like a spider exosuit,
Cool.
and it looks very similar to
Okay.
to what's on this. So even if this isn't actually that version of Peter Parker, I wouldn't be surprised if they're drawing from that.
Mhm.
Yeah, just
But yeah.
this show from now on will just be me reminiscing about comics I read back in the '90s.
Well, I like hearing about them.
Okay, good. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Let's do.
I got 2 left.
You got 2 left. Well, since we're talking about Spider-Man, so let's
just
move
keep
on.
up with it.
More
Spider-Punk,
Spider-Man.
Arms Race. This is issue 4. I believe this is the last issue.
Mhm.
And right from the start, I like this sideways spread.
Oh yeah, that's like classic '90s.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
a little bit of spoilers for the last issue if you're not caught up, but they sort of turn into these big Transformer like mecha suits,
say,
Gundam style,
Yeah.
and they're gonna fight. So you got what is it? It's the Spider Band all together, and then Doc Ock. And I love this issue because it's just mecha suits fighting, and that's it. But it's Spider-Man, and I'm like, that's so fun. But my favorite thing is that the Spider-Punk mecha suit, their head is just their van.
The Spider Van, yeah.
It's just their van. But yeah, I'm loving this story a lot, and I still need to go back and read the first issue where it was Spider-Punk against, I think it was Osborn, because this one's all about Doc Ock. But it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I like seeing everybody, I don't know, working together. Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah, I like the art in this one a lot.
It's a quick read too.
Yeah.
I got through it really quickly, which is interesting for me because I'm a slow reader.
You're a slow reader? Oh.
Yeah, my ADHD goes all over the place. This one, I was locked in. I was like, whoa.
Wow. All right. Well, if you can get Celeste to read a whole
Yeah.
book, then that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's talk about
before I move on to my last book. So another notable thing that's coming out tomorrow is Helverine #1. Now this is kind of picking up the pieces where the Ghost Rider Wolverine crossover left off. I think that was last year that they did that, where Wolverine gets possessed not by the Ghost Rider demon, but like a different demon, but it has the same effect where it turns him into this like a Ghost Rider esque.
That looks
Kinda
crazy
character.
cool.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a different demon.
Are they in hell?
They're in hell. Yeah, that's Mephisto.
Okay.
But it's not actually hell. It is. It's an alternate dimension that has all the properties of hell, and so
it looks like hell.
It looks like
sounds
hell.
like
It sounds
hell.
like hell, but it's not actually hell.
Okay.
It's an alternate like dimension. It's a reality or something like that. And Mephisto is like the Lord of the Realm. And there's this demon. This like first couple of pages just kind of recap the Wolverine Ghost Rider event. Yeah, he's on his motorcycle, and so this story is just about how the Helverine is back. That crossover ended with Wolverine getting the demon excised out of him, and now it's like, oh, why is he back? And then there's something else going on where the government takes a bunch of dead soldiers and turns them into like hell monsters or something, and so they need Wolverine to kill them. It's a whole thing. If you've been following the the writer is Ben Percy, who's been writing Ghost Rider and Wolverine, so it made sense why they would do a crossover between the two of them. So if you've been following that series, you're probably definitely going to pick this up because it just kind of fits right in with everything that he's been doing in those books. I won't. There's kind of a twist in it. I don't want to spoil it. It's the first issue.
But you'll spoil it next week, right?
If we talk about issue 2, I'll spoil it. But yeah, it's. I thought it was fine. I stopped reading the Ghost Rider series after the Wolverine crossover because it was just like too much for me. Like it looked really really cool, but it was just like I don't know. I'm you know me. I'm always looking for things to cut. I read too much, and I'm just like, okay, this one I just gotta let it go. But yeah, I thought the twist was kind of neat. So we'll see where it goes. Maybe it can bring me back into it.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. What else do you have here?
Ooh, I got a new one. This is my favorite. This is my pick of the week.
Pick of the week?
Yes.
All right.
I'm super stoked for this whole series.
Oh, man. So I wanted to read this, and I'm so glad that you read it and picked it because I didn't get a chance to. This is by Michael Avon Oeming. He does the art on the Blue Book series that I've been talking about.
Oh, okay. See, I was amazed because it said created by Michael and then also script, art, and letters. So he did this whole thing.
Yeah, it's 100% like his thing.
It's wild to me.
Looks great. He did
even all of this.
I need to look. I should have done my homework to look up to see. He did a series several years ago called Mice Templars. And I don't know if this is in continuity with that or if it's just just like stylistically similar. This is where I'm not doing my job as a comic book seller, a guy that works in a comic book store, because I didn't come prepared with the information that I should have. But what did you think of it? Did you read it?
Yes, awesome. Read all of it, loved it. So it's about this monk priest, and he goes around exorcising demons and whatnot. He gets a job in, what's it called? Buckinghamshire. Yeah, so he gets a job to go out, and basically he's told no. They're like, no, stop like going on these little like side quests, whatever, and just make money like for the king. And he's like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. So he gets thrown out of the monastery, and thieves come along, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll protect you through the woods, you just gotta pay up, right?
Yeah.
So they travel with him for a little bit, and it's a lot of fun. It's just a nice little adventure, and he actually ends up teaming up with one of the thieves, and because the thief just finds it really cool that let's see if I can find the line. But he finds it really cool that the power of word is as powerful as it is. And so he decides like, okay, you can teach me how to like read and write, and I'll join with you, I guess. He's like,
Sure.
I won't, even if it's from the Bible, like, I'll put down my ways. Oh, was it this page? Yeah, don't underestimate the power of the written word. It has taken down kings and built up empires.
Hmm.
Love that. So they team up, they're killing ghouls, monsters, demons, and I'm excited to see the rest of the series.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it looks really good. I meant to read this and I didn't quite make time for it, so I'm really glad you were able to pick it out. That's great.
Yeah. The art style is beautiful too.
Yeah, he's a great artist. Like
Yeah.
he's just so good. And like what a cool cover. Like I just really raccoons are fun, you know?
Raccoons are fun. Yeah,
All
that's why I
right.
picked it up, was because there's just a
Just
little
a-
raccoon
right,
on the
just
cover.
a little guy on
It's
there.
just a little guy, and then he's super insanely cool fighting down demons, and then he's just this little raccoon guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So my pick of the week, probably since I didn't read that one, probably going to be Batman Dark Age. I don't have a lot to say about it that I haven't said in previous episodes. I love this creative team. Mark Russell, kind of probably my new favorite writer, and of course been a longtime fan of Mike Allred. And this is another one of those situations where I'm reading this. These are the same guys that did Superman Space Age last year, and I'm reading this now after having read 2 issues of Crisis on Infinite Earths, and now I'm like, oh, that's why they're doing it like this. Like this,
Wow.
this makes me like it even more.
It's nice to have some
It's-
background
it's like-
context.
Yeah. Well, like so this story is kind of disconnected from like the regular DC continuity. So there's not there's not any like editorial boxes of like go and read this issue to understand this, because it's all designed in such a way that it can be read just completely detached from everything and by itself.
See, I like that.
Yeah,
I appreciate
do
that.
too, which is why I like it without having read Crisis on Infinite Earths. But now that I have my knowledge has expanded, I can see a lot more of like why the creative decisions were made and like why things are a certain way. And I'm like, oh, okay, because they're kind of falling in line with stuff that was set up
Mhm.
for the Crisis story. So yeah, this is a really good Batman story. It's a nice kind of like alternate reality take on the character. Superman
Ooh.
does show up for a very nice scene. I always like
I like this.
yeah,
that spread,
That's
yeah.
a lovely page. Like it's so good. I mean, Mike already. He knows how to lay out a beautiful page. But I also always really like when Superman and Batman, like when their relationship is told correctly. I guess the only way I can say it, because like Batman's like a dark character and Superman's this hopeful character, and they work really well as a team. So yeah, that was good. Anyway, I really liked it, and definitely going to keep recommending it every time it comes out.
Nice.
So I have one more issue to talk
Last
about.
one.
Last one, because like I said, I not had a chance to read a lot of stuff that came out this week, and most of it was just stuff that I'd already been reading and talked about on the show, like Batman
Mhm.
Dark Age. But I did want to go ahead and take a look at another Batman comic, Detective Comics. Now, I don't normally read a lot of regular Batman books. Most of the stuff I read are the miniseries or the Black Label books that aren't really like tied to whatever's going on in the main DC continuity. But I've been hearing a lot of really good things about this series. I love the cover design. I really like just the aesthetic that they're going for. It just looks really good. And this series is written by Ram V, who is one of the guys that's writing the Creature from the Black Lagoon series. He's written a lot of other stuff. But I just decided I would also try a little bit of an experiment, like because as I've talked about, I definitely kind of prefer reading older comics. And one of the things I like about older comics is that you can kind of just pick up any random issue and just read it, even if it's in the middle of a story, and you'll be able to get the gist of what's happening. And it's partially because it's so overwritten. So there's always like every character, they introduce the character and explain their powers. And if you're reading like 12 issues in a row of the X-Men, that gets tedious. But if you just find one random issue and read it, you can actually just appreciate it,
Okay.
and you don't need to like go back and find issue 1 to follow
Yeah.
the story. And so I thought, well, let me just like pull out this random new issue of Detective Comics and see how it holds up to just
What's
a
this?
random. This is issue number 1085, but it is
Wow.
yeah, it's been going on since
That is
1939,
insane.
1940. But this issue is part 2. It's Gotham Nocturne Act 3 Crescendo Part 2. So this is definitely like right in the middle, if not near
Uh-huh.
the end of a big epic story arc.
So
So
how'd you pick it up?
you know what? It was actually fairly easy to follow, and I
Okay.
kind of liked it a lot. There's clearly, like, having not read any of the previous issues, there's clearly like a lot of stuff that's been building. So there's some reference to stuff that happened early in the story that I'm not like specifically familiar with, but you can follow the story pretty good. The art looks great. I should say art by Stefano Raphael. Man, it looks great. Like this is like some
Mhm.
nice moody Batman. Like I just like the colors are really good as well. There's a lot of characters that show up in it that I also really liked. Like I liked it. This issue is basically Batman is collecting a bunch of different villains that he needs to help him solve this like bigger problem, and so it's you get a lot of appearances
When you
of
say
characters.
collecting,
Well, like he has to break one character out of prison. Like he goes to meet Mr. Freeze, who's one of my absolute favorite Batman villains. So I really liked that Freeze was in this. They have a cool scene together. Yeah, it's just like really, really good.
okay. So does he walk up to them and is like, "Hey, I need help. Let's team up," or does he kidnap them? When you say collecting,
It depends on the character. It depends on the villain.
Oh.
He's doing Batman does what
Oh,
needs to be
buddy.
done.
Clearly.
Yeah, but
Wow.
also the other thing that's nice about this issue, and this is what that since this is Detective Comics, not the main Batman story, it's actually got two stories in it. So there's like the main story by Ram V, and then there's a backup story, and the backup story was really, really excellent. It's a Mr. Freeze story. Art is really good. Um, Art by Christopher Mitten, who I'm not familiar with, but I really liked this. Written by
Yeah.
Alex Packnadell, and this was really just really good. Like I said, I love Mr. Freeze, so it's just like a coincidence that I picked this up on a whim, and I'm like, oh, it's like my favorite Batman villain in here. Well, all right. I
It
mean,
was
he doesn't.
calling your name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really good. So you know what, guys, I like when I'm working in the shop. I always like to ask our customers like how they're liking books that they're reading and what they're following, and I keep hearing good stuff about Detective Comics. So I checked it out, and they're not wrong. It's really good. So
Nice.
yeah, I probably have to check out the trade paperbacks because just this is also one of those books that sells out pretty quickly, which is I don't know. It doesn't always happen to a lot of books, but like I know that Detective, like everybody's on it. So
Yeah.
yeah, good book. That's all I got.
Sweet. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for hopefully watching the stream now that we've been after our delayed absence.
What was
I hope
it?
you enjoyed
Was it 2 weeks?
It was 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, we're back on track now.
We're back on track, and we're gonna stay on track.
Yeah.
That's the goal. But thanks for watching the stream. Thanks for checking out comics in our store. Like our friend Dan says, there's a comic out there for everybody. All kinds of
Yes.
stuff. So
Even
definitely,
if you're a new reader, you can
even if you're
just
a new
jump
reader,
right
you
in.
can just jump right
Yeah.
in. And that's kind of like there's like a meme that's going around that's like whenever you ask somebody, when somebody's like, I'm a new reader, where should I start? And everybody's always like, you start at Dark Knight Returns, number one, or whatever. But like all longtime readers, their first comic was just some random issue. Like my first comic was probably like GI Joe 37. You know what I mean? Just like a random issue.
Yeah.
And so like not everybody needs to start at number one of like an epic story. You just need to find something you like and jump in.
Yeah.
But yeah, so please, we encourage more people to read. If you can't get comics out of store, you should get them somewhere else. But definitely try to come into Fantasy Books and Games and get them from us. You at least get to talk to Celeste and I about comics.
Yeah.
We
We'll tell
love
you where to
talking.
start.
Yeah, we'll tell you exactly where to start. It's
Yeah.
whatever the newest book is out. Whatever's in stock, start
Yeah.
there.
It's my favorite comics. Is where you should start.
Well, all right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.